7.
Back at the Spectrum where the Boston Bruins have a 2-1 lead on the Flyers, and the goal that went in off Riendo's skate didn't seem to flush through the Bruins. They answered right back, Joe.
No, they came out and really did what they wanted to do, Sam. They held their poise. The bad goal got them down, but they came back, put pressure on Philadelphia, and that's what turned the game around.
Okay, let's find out what's going on around the rest of the league. Let's go to John Saunders.
Welcome back once again to the NHL on ABC. We hope you're enjoying the games you're seeing here 1 week before the playoffs start, also here on ABC. We'll get you back to your game in just a moment, but first let's get you up to date on some of the games around the National Hockey League. Extremely important as we head down to the final playoff berths, including the New York Islanders, who are trying to fight their way in. As of today, they are in the playoffs, but they are tied with the Panthers. Al Arbor trying to get some help from his veterans. Ray Ferraro with a nice move here, beating his former teammate Glenn Healy as the Islanders took a 1-0 lead. But the Rangers come back. This is Steve Larmer. This goal actually making it a 2-1 contest. The Rangers with the lead. Earlier, Mark Messier had scored for the first time since February the 18th. As a matter of fact, 26 games Mark Messier had gone without a goal. And 2-1 right now, the Rangers have a lead, including they killed off a 5-minute New York Islander power play. That was key in that game. Boston and Philadelphia, where they stand right now. Boston leading it 2-1. Hines is a goal. The two goals coming actually within 9 seconds of each other. So the Islanders, as we mentioned, trying to fight their way to the playoffs, as of now, currently tied with the Florida Panthers. Philadelphia was the team in the driver's seat on March the 14th. Since then, they picked up just 8 points, while the Islanders have picked up 16. Florida with 14, so it's coming down to the final 3 games of the season for those two teams. Dallas and St. Louis. Dallas, a big surprise this year. 10 more points than they had all of last year in Minnesota. And the big shot comes right here. Courtnall, it deflects in off a skate, but it's enough to give Dallas the lead. And then Mike Modano, standing alone by the side of the net. Will he get 50 goals this year? Well, this is number 49. This on a power play. And that's where it stands right now. Dallas leading 2-0 over St. Louis. And Dallas is a team that has struggled down the stretch. Modano, 49 goals on the season. We'll keep you updated on that one. Los Angeles facing Chicago. Los Angeles and the Kings, as you know, will not be in the playoffs this year. Sitting in 7th spot in the West are Chicago and the Blackhawks with 83 points. And it's a scoreless game right now. Tampa Bay and Hartford. This one just got underway a little bit later than the other games, as you can see. Still 17 minutes left in the first period there. They are scoreless as well. Let's remind you what we have coming your way next week. The Stanley Cup playoffs begin with more regional coverage at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 12 o'clock Pacific, and Central as well. We'll be back with more of the NHL on ABC in just a moment.
NBA Showdown 94 for Sega Genesis and Super NES. If it's in the game, EA Sports. It's in the game.
Okay, I confess. I want my hair to look great. I got better things to do than to mess around with it. So I use a special shampoo and conditioner that cleans and completely conditions without the hassle. Pert Plus. Net result, no matter what I've been doing, my hair does what I want it to. Why would I mess around with anything else?
Pert Plus. Great hair. No fuss. Nature can be devastating to wood. All-purpose water sealer's waterproof. So does Olympic WaterGuard for wood. But only Olympic has sunblock protection to fight sun damage. Plus resists mildew and has penetrating linseed oil to strengthen wood fibers. Olympic WaterGuard with 4-way wood protection, because wood needs more than an all-purpose water sealer.
Hi.
Hey,
So how'd it go today?
I've been called back for a second interview.
That's great.
Looking for a job keeps me busier than when I have one.
Speaking of busy, I better get dinner started. What do you say we go out to dinner? My treat.
Only McDonald's gives you extra time and extra value meals starting at $2.99.
Dad, when you get your new job, let's go back to the old way. where you pay.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's tonight.
FIFA International Soccer for Sega Genesis. If it's in the game, EA Sports. It's in the game.
Welcome back to the National Hockey League here on ABC. In New York, I'm John Saunders. Back out to your game in just a moment. But we are only 1 week away from the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So let's get you up to date, let you know who's headed where and when. First of all, there are still some things undecided. A week from today, it begins the chase for the Stanley Cup. Let's focus in on who finishes where. The race for #1 overall is over, and the winner, the New York Rangers. Asa Tikanen's goal keyed a 5-goal second-period outburst, and Alexei Kovalev added a pair of markers in a 5-3 win over Toronto to give the Blue Shirts their second President's Trophy in the last 3 seasons. In the battle for the final home ice berth in the East, Buffalo needed only the second-period goal from Donald Audette against Montreal on Friday. That's because Dominic Hasek was brilliant, stopping 31 shots and posting his 7th shutout that's tied for the league lead. More importantly, the win temporarily vaulted the Sabres over both Montreal and Boston for 4th in the East. Last night, the Canadiens claimed that spot against Pittsburgh. Brian Bellows helped get the Habs out to a 2-0 lead. And Vincent Damphousse keyed a 5-goal second-period blitz in a 9-1 rout, which prevented the Penguins from clinching the Northeast Division and the second Eastern seed. Looking somewhat skittish in that picture, the Boston Bruins. Tampa Bay's John Tucker scored just 27 seconds into yesterday's game. And Wendell Young stopped all 32 Bruins shots in a 3-0 whitewash at Boston Garden. The loss dropping the Bees into the 6th seed and prevents them from holding their home ice destiny. At the bottom of the East race, Washington's Kelly Miller notched a first-period goal to break a 1-1 tie with Ottawa. And Todd Krieger added his first career hat trick to seal an 8-4 rout, which all but wraps up the Caps' 12th straight playoff appearance. The last spot currently belongs to the New York Islanders. Pierre Turgeon scored 2 goals Friday in a 5-1 win over Dallas. The victory tied the Isles with Florida with 80 points. However, New York has 2 more wins. Both teams have 3 games left, including a showdown in Florida to close the season on Thursday. In the West, Detroit could have clinched the first seed last night in Calgary. But Ronnie Stern's shorthanded goal and Mike Sullivan's insurance marker secured a 4-2 Flame win, which kept their slim hopes alive for the top seed. In Vancouver last night, the 6th-seeded Canucks ran into a buzzsaw from Disneyland. Patrick Karbach's late goal helped the Mighty Ducks to a 3-1 triumph, which gives Anaheim an NHL record for expansion team wins with 33. The playoffs begin next week, and the action starts on Sunday right here on ABC. Back with more of the National Hockey League on ABC in just a moment.
Realize your potential. Be a player. If your pro shop doesn't have the FX irons in stock to fit you, Ram will custom build a set for you, guaranteed.
Call 1-800-FX-CLUBS for details.
The designers of Sega's new World Series baseball set up cameras to capture what it really feels like in a Major League box. Then made it so you can pick any Major League team in any ballpark and made it have all the players, even the guys riding the pine. So with Sega's new World Series baseball, everything happens, well, more like it does in real life.
Hey, Ricky! Oh.
You can feel the heat, 1,100 degrees, intense heat.
The hottest.
We asked some of the hottest guys in town to trade their deodorant for New Degree deodorant. Body heat activated. Let's give it a shot. As your body heat rises, only Degree releases extra protection against odor. When I heat up, deodorant's gonna kick in. Works far better than a speed stick. Kicked in for me. Switch to the stick that's body heat activated.
I'm gonna stick to Degree. I'd use it. The stuff works. Absolutely.
Cool as ice. New Degree deodorant for a higher degree of protection.
What tire do you trust in the wet? A tire that removes over 2 gallons of water per second from under the tread. The all-seasons MX4. Another engineering splash from Michelin.
Saturday, ABC Sports rolls in with the Pro Bowlers Tour. Then ABC's Wide World of Sports presents Beck's Professional Boxing. In 1992, two undefeated fighters met with a world title on the line. After 10 rounds, Olympic gold medalist Kennedy McKinney was behind on all cards. But in the 11th round, he shocked then-champion Welcome Nita with a sensational one-punch knockout to capture the crown. Now it's the championship rematch, live. Plus, top 3-year-olds take off in the Wood Memorial. It's all Saturday here on ABC.
Welcome back to the Spectrum in Philadelphia, where the Boston Bruins have a 2-1 lead on the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers actually got on the board first on a fluke goal, if you will, Joe.
Yeah, there's been quite a few between these two teams as of late, Sam. It came right off the face-off. Brindamore helps out, as does Baranek. The long shot, though, comes from Yuskevich. Goes off the backboards. Now Riendo is down on the play. The puck coming back hard off his right skate into the net. That made it 1-0.
Here's the story of the Flyers season. Sometimes things are great for Tommy Soderstrom.
And he makes a terrific save here on Glenn Murray, who breaks in, gets off a quick shot. Soderstrom is right there, in control of himself, and that kept the Flyers in the lead.
But then, bad goal.
Yeah, a turnover by the Flyers, which is something that they have done often this year. And then just a quick shot on the play. Now, just a quick shot here, and Soderstrom comes out, actually deflects it through his own legs with his stick.
9 seconds later, Bruins score again and take the lead.
And Hughes with a good move here, and he'll just get the shot on goal again. No one covering up in front. And there's the wide open net, the shot by Stumple, and that other quick goal makes it 2-1 for the Bruins.
And the other factor for the Philadelphia Flyers in a game that they must win to stay alive, to have any hope of making the playoffs, is that they just seem to lack the fire. We'll be back in just a moment with the start of the second period here in Philadelphia.
This is a special report from ABC News.
This is Carol Simpson in Washington. We have breaking news in Bosnia. 2 American warplanes acting as part of the NATO operation in Bosnia have attacked Serb forces advancing the embattled Muslim enclave of Gorađa. This is the first time NATO has launched airstrikes on Serb forces on the ground. Reports so far indicate that 2 U.S. F-16s dropped bombs on Serb forces as they reached the outskirts of the northern town, which was supposed to be a UN-declared safe haven for 65,000 Muslims in eastern Bosnia. UN officials say at least 2 Serb tanks were hit. And there are reports that Serb militiamen are responding to the airstrike by firing ground-to-air missiles on nearby residential areas. The NATO attack came after Serb forces overran government defenses around Gorađa, and hundreds of panicked residents fled their homes overnight. Standing by live now with us in Sarajevo is ABC's Tony Bertley. Tony, how bad is the situation in Gorađa, and what prompted NATO to launch these airstrikes?
Well, the situation had been deteriorating by the hour in Gorađa, despite what the UN had been saying here for the last 2 days. They said it wasn't going to fall, but that quite clearly was not the situation on the ground. The Serb forces had reached the outskirts of the town. There had been very bad shelling there during the day. One radio report by ham radio from the town said Gorađa could fall within the hour. On that basis, NATO had to react because Gorađa was named a safe haven a year ago, offering some kind of protection for the Muslims inside that town. And basically, they were looking for protection now when they needed it most. So NATO had to act. It was a chain of reaction started by General Sir Michael Rose, who's the UN commander here on the ground, and that went all the way to the top, and those airstrikes were launched.
Okay, Tony, we'll stay in touch with you throughout the afternoon. We go now to the State Department, where ABC's Barry Dunsmore is standing by. Barry, how closely involved were U.S. officials in this military operation?
Oh, very much so, Carol, and this has been something that has been coming for quite some time. Everyone recognized over the last day or two that there really was a question, as Tony pointed out, of the credibility of NATO and the United Nations, and that's why they have acted. Interestingly, it also comes at a time when it looks like there might actually be an end in sight to the problems in Bosnia. There is much serious talk right now of a ceasefire, a so-called cessation of hostilities that would be more than simply a ceasefire. Secretary Christopher talked about it this morning, and the feeling seems to be that we might be very close to an actual political settlement, or at least a cessation of hostilities which would lead to a political settlement. My guess is that the action that has been taken today might actually speed that up, because once again it emphasizes that the United States, NATO, and the UN do have some credibility, and although they may be sometimes slow to act, they are prepared and willing to act.
Thank you very much. Barry Dunsmore reporting from the State Department. To repeat, 2 American warplanes have carried a NATO airstrike on Serb ground forces after they overran Bosnian government forces and advanced on the embattled Muslim enclave of Gorazda. At least 2 Serb tanks were hit in NATO's first attack on Serb positions on the ground. ABC News will keep you up to date on events in Bosnia as they occur, and we'll have a complete report later on World News Sunday. I'm Carol Simpson in Washington. Good afternoon.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
And welcome back once again to our NHL studios in New York. I'm John Saunders. We'll get you back to your games in just a moment. Some of them are underway after this word from our ABC stations.
Sunday, it's a hair-raising show that'll have you rolling with laughter. Everyone's falling in line for another in-your-face episode of America's Funniest Home Videos. Then, Kid and Play get everyone dancing along on the new America's Funniest People after Funniest Videos on ABC Sundays.
Wednesday, Harry thinks Happy the Mouse is lonely.
Where is he? I put him in Norma's cage. You put the mouse in the...
In a snake's cage?
Uh-huh. We're playing tag.
Thunder Alley after Home Improvement at a special time Wednesday here on ABC.
Every year, American business wastes millions on international calls using the wrong long-distance company. Now with MCI's Proof Positive Worldwide, you can save up to 50% off typical international calls around the world. Call and put that money back in your business.
What do your neighbors think of Menswear Mega Center?
Oh, I love this store. I really do. We've been coming here since it opened.
The prices and the quality make it great. Love it.
Beats any prices in the malls. The prices, that's what keeps me coming back. The prices are great, mixed with the quality. That's what I love most.
Open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. Now with 2 locations in Bailey's Crossroads and Rockville, Maryland.
Menswear Mega Center.
Wheel of Fortune, weeknights at 7 on WJLA TV, Channel 7.
Every year, American business wastes millions on international calls using the wrong long-distance company. Now with MCI's Proof Positive Worldwide, you can save up to 50% off typical international calls around the world. Call and put that money back in your business.
Gone by in the second period. Score remains 2-1 in favor of the Boston Bruins. We'll take a look at the Pringles storyline of the game. The Bruins with 2 goals in a span of 9 seconds by Steve Hines and Joseph Stumpel. Dmitry Yushkevich scoring for Philadelphia. And the Bruins went 0 for 1 on the power play and have failed on their last 29 power play chances over the course of 6 games, plus the first period this afternoon. Thus far in the second period, Joe, the Bruins have had 2 odd-man rushes and haven't gotten a shot through the net.
Again, Philadelphia continues to play that type of defense. It's very aggressive, and that's leaving them wide open to Bruins scoring chances.
Puck around the boards. Jason Bowen for Philadelphia.
Sam, the other factor is that Philadelphia had 6 shots on goal in the first period. Only one of their forwards got any shot. That was Mikhail Renberg with 2 shots. The other 4 shots came from their defensemen. So the Flyers forwards have to get involved.
Stumpel's shot was blocked. The puck picked up by Glenn Murray, who's had a couple of good chances in the game. Put it out in front, but Bowen has Brent Hughes tied up. And the Flyers have had only 3 shots on goal at even strength in the game. Puck around the boards, and Riendo was upended by Rob DeMaio when sliding into the net. The whistle stopped play. Rob DeMaio came over from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Upset Vincent Riendo. Play stops. We'll step out for a moment.
After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang out.
Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft.
After midnight, we're gonna take
the cold one. For those who've discovered its smooth draft taste, the world is a very cool place. So get out of the old and get into the cold.
If you demand more from an aftershave than that same old alcohol burn, you need more than the same old aftershave. Sensitive from Old Spice. It's alcohol-free because alcohol burns. That's why they took it out and put these cooling Sensate scent. For real refreshment to go with that great scent. It's proof aftershave doesn't have to hurt to work. So use Sensitive, or you might get burned. Take the heat out of aftershave. Demand proof. Try alcohol-free Sensitive from Old Spice.
The National Hockey League on ABC. Brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. And Old Spice Sensitive. It's alcohol-free to take the heat out of aftershave.
Off the face-off, the shot by Dmitry Yuskevich bounces down in the corner. It's played out by Glenn Wesley. Yuskevich takes it back for Philadelphia. Pass blocked by Brian Smolinski. Yuskevich spins it around the boards for Mikhail Renberg, but it's passed in. Wesley takes over. Paired with Al Iafrate. Bruins are hoping that Ray Bourque will be back to start the playoffs next week. He started skating yesterday. Skated for about 20 minutes, but I think it's fair to say, Joe, that without Ray Bourque, the Bruins have very little chance of going anywhere in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. Even with the new kid that everyone is so excited about, Sherkovsky, I mean, he's a rookie that has not played in this league yet, and it's going to take him a while to adjust.
Good hit by Yuskevich, knocks down Steve Leach. David Shaw has the puck for Boston. Moves it across to Fred Knipscher. Save made by Soderstrom. Good shot by Fred Knipscher. Recchi races down. Recchi drops it off for Montemagno. His shot, save Riendo. First good chance for the Flyers in quite a while. Don Sweeney the other way for Boston. Sweeney moves across, gets the shot off. Nice save by Soderstrom. Comes up the boards by Baranek, then he took a hit from Knipscher. He's Racine. Lets it clear. Blocked by David Shaw in center. Sent back. Racine plays it for Philadelphia. Out to Rod Brind'Amour. Brind'Amour's been very quiet thus far in the game.
He really has. They're staying awfully close to Rod Brind'Amour. As soon as he gets anywhere near the puck, the Bruins are right on him. They're playing the man, taking him out of the play.
He's off the glass and out of the zone. Pass intended for Brind'Amour. David Shaw takes over. A little over 5 minutes gone by in the second. Bruins leading 2-1. Eddie Roberts puts up ice. Bruins have one more road game. That will be at Ottawa before finishing their regular season at home against the Hartford Whalers. An icing whistle against Boston. The Flyers will play the New Jersey Devils here on Tuesday and then go to New York to play the Rangers Thursday night to wind up the regular season.
Sam, you know, we have talked about the goaltending situation here in Philadelphia and how they've had such a difficult year. I think the thing to remember is that both goaltenders, Soderstrom and Roussel, the backup tonight, are just 24 years of age. And coming into this season, the Flyers decided to go with young goaltenders without much experience. Just a year and a half of experience between those two goaltenders. Every other team in the Atlantic Division came in with goaltenders that had at least 4.5 years of experience. And I think it made a big difference. There's been a lot of pressure on those two goaltenders.
What effect do you think the losing will have on the Flyers? The fact that after the good start, they fell out and may not make the playoffs. And if they don't, how will the goaltenders react to that situation? Long shot, score! Big shot by Yves Racine. Beats Vincent Riendo, and the Flyers have tied it 2-2. We'll get back to your comment on that in a moment, Joe. But first, let's take a look at the goal scored by the Flyers.
Yeah, this was a good play by the Flyers because it's the first time in a long time in this game that they sustained pressure in the zone, and it's Rod Brind'Amour leading the way. He makes a good move on Adam Oates behind, and then the perfect backhand pass to Yves Racine, who moved in, and a couple of bodies in front of Vince Riendo. He may have been screened somewhat a little bit, but Brind'Amour with a terrific play, the long shot by Racine, and it actually deflected off the skate of Glenn Wesley. On the play, the shot was low along the ice. The right skate of Glenn Wesley actually deflects off the skate, then through the legs of Vince Riendo.
Rod Brind'Amour picks up an assist on it. That's his 94th point of the season. They already have one 100-point scorer in Mark Recchi. Eric Lindros is stalled at 97 because of injuries. Had he played a full season, he'd have been up around 130. But Rod Brind'Amour with a shot at reaching the 100-point mark.
Yeah, Sam, can you imagine a team with the possibility capability of 3 100-point scores, a defenseman who played in the All-Star game, a rookie who's got a great chance to win the Rookie of the Year honors and not make the playoffs?
Hard to believe. Brent Fennick for the puck is struck by Ice. Here's Andre Faust. He scores as he was taken down. Great effort by Andre Faust. And the Flyers, who were victimized by 2 quick goals in the first period, scored 2 quickies of their own to regain the lead.
This could end up 8-7, Sam, the way this thing's going. You mentioned effort. Just a great effort by the Flyers. They have come right back. Glenn Wesley gets interfered with and then tries to kick the puck. He can't. Tries to get back in the play. Does by tripping Faust, but the great effort, the concentration by Faust. As he's being taken down, he keeps his eye on the puck. Look at the concentration. Just terrific. Riendo going down. Faust just slides it in the other side. And quickly the Flyers lead it 3-2.
8th goal of the season for the rookie Andre Faust. Nice pass by Brent Fennick. A little pass that sent Faust in on goal. 6.5 minutes gone by in the second. The Flyers lead 3-2. Puck tipped ahead. Played by Yuskevich. No, it was not tipped off the Flyers' stick. It's an icing on the Boston Bruins that stops play. Andre Faust has given Philly a 3-2 lead.
History teaches primordial perspiration shouldn't mess with one's style. Thus, new Red Guard Pure Power Clear Gel. It's clear without flaky white stuff. New Red Guard Clear Gel. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Here comes a new taste from the inventor of light beer. Introducing new Light Ice from Miller. The first and only ice-brewed, less filling beer. It's 100% ice-brewed for a taste that's more of what you want. Definitely light for less of what you don't.
What kind of beer is that?
It's new Light Ice from Miller.
At the first tickly itch of athlete's foot, get an X. Killing those grungy fungi before they get racket and burning. Go get that can now, or else don't blame Desonex.
Here in Philadelphia, the Flyers are leading Vincent Riendo and the Boston Bruins 3-2. Around the NHL this afternoon, the Rangers and Rangers and Islanders are tied 2-2. Benoit Hogue has scored for the Islanders. Chicago with a 1-0 lead on L.A. in the second period. Dallas leading 2-0 over St. Louis. Mike Modano scored his 49th goal of the season in that one. Dallas also getting a goal from Russ Courtnall. Denny Savard has scored 2 for Tampa Bay. That game tied 3-3, middle of the second period. And Quebec and Buffalo just underway in Buffalo. Important games later, New Jersey and Florida. Winnipeg at Toronto, Detroit and Edmonton. See the rest of the NHL schedule tonight. Stumple moving it across to Gordy Roberts. Roberts sends it in. By Jason Bowen off the boards to Mikhail Renberg. Renberg trying to break by Jamie Hustroff. Roberts helps out. Hustroff bats the puck out of the zone, but there's a penalty coming up. I believe it'll be on Hustroff. There's an interference call. Renberg was taken down, and it's Jamie Hustroff going off, and the Flyers, who have a 3-2 lead, now get a power play opportunity.
Mikhail Renberg showing his size and his strength, and the key to this is that he keeps his legs going and forces the Boston player to take him down. His legs just keep skating through it. That allows him to actually be taken down on the play. And what a season for Renberg. 80 points we talked about earlier on the year. He's a big kid, and he's really not your typical foreign player because he likes to play the power game. He likes to hit. He plays an aggressive game, even though he doesn't fight, but he likes that strength-type game.
Hustroff for interference at 7-10. Flyers' second power play of the game. They're 0 for 1. The Flyers' 2 goals by Racine and Faust came in a span of 37 seconds. Becky plays it across to Gary Galley. His pass blocked out. Oates takes over. Oates with Dave Reed, number 17, joining him. Don Sweeney and David Shaw for Boston. Mark Recchi with Rod Brindamore, Mikhail Renberg, Gary Galley, and Ian Racine for the power play. Renberg has it. The point man is Racine. The shot deflected across. Get through to the net is cleared out by Dave Reed. Recchi lost control. Sweeney takes it. Mark Recchi went 9 games without a goal before scoring Thursday night against Florida. A long stretch. He said he wasn't worried because he was getting a lot of chances, and that's the thing that goal scorers seem to be concerned most with.
Yeah, and it was interesting, Rod Brindamore saying, here's the team we've been trailing for really 20 games now and haven't been able to turn things around. So even the goals being scored, or the lack of goals, I should say, by the Flyers, and they just haven't been able to come back and catch up in the standings.
Recchi's shot attempt was deflected into the crowd. Coming up next, an elite field of our country's skating stars take the ice. Scott Davis, Nicole Bobbick, and our national champions compete in the Hershey's Kisses Pro-Am Skating Championship. Plus, a special performance by Brian Boitano coming up next here on ABC Sports.
Recchi's got that great shot. He's a left-handed shot. Comes in generally off the right wing, and off that left leg, he catches goaltenders and defensemen for the most part by surprise. Just as you think you've got him, he turns and gets that quick shot off, and it's been very successful for him, but the Bruins have done a good job against him tonight. No shots yet.
And with a good win on the face-off, Galley plays the puck to Mark Recchi. Out to Galley. Long shot, save, rebound over the top. Good save by Riendos. He was screened in front. Lamb and Wesley were battling in front. Kevin Dineen gets it back to Dmitry Yushkevich. His pass blocked. Bruins try to pick it up. They do. Ted Donato with it to Boston. Donato knocks it down. Brady field off as the Bruins change. 15 seconds to go on the Flyers power play. 3-2 Flyers leading it. 11 minutes to go second period. Fred Knipchier brings it across. Gets the shot off. Sticked aside by Tommy Soderstrom. Galley holds away from Steve Hines. The outlet to Yushkevich. He's it back to full strength. Flyers are 0-2 on the power play. Hines pulled down, knocked down. Yushkevich back to the puck, broke his stick. Puck is loose. Yushkevich knocked down by Knipchier. And the puck is underneath both players. Yushkevich, second-year player from Russia.
And another one of the young players, just 21 years old. They certainly expected a great deal out of him. Now, meanwhile, Brian Sutter has used many young players on this team this year. And, in fact, often he's been criticized for using young players in key situations. But when you do that, you teach these young players. And when you get to the playoffs and they have to play in critical situations, that schooling over the course of the regular season will help them when it comes to the playoffs.
Brian Sutter, always active, always vocal behind the bench. Puck moved up by the Flyers, but stopped by David Shaw. Played in deep. Dave Reed sent by Racine. Marius Krakowski with the puck. Controlling, giving it away from Brindamore. Leaves it to Shaw, toward the net, knocked down. Reed finds it, sent by Racine. Gets it loose. Can't get a shot off, gets it to Don Sweeney. He wrests it toward the net, deflected wide. Moves it up the board. Kept in by Sweeney. Knocked down by Reed. Brindamore for Conroy and across to Brent Fedek. Fedek, number 18, across with Conroy. Couldn't split the defense. Shaw moves it up the boards. Good check by Don Sweeney on Brent Fedek. Bruins come back. Oates dropping it for Sweeney. Sweeney shoots. Score! Right through the legs of Tommy Soderstrom. And yet another bad goal given up by the Flyers goaltender. It's a 3-3 game as the Bruins come down and a big drive by Sweeney beats Soderstrom.
Yeah, and Sam, what happens is the Flyers started a 3-on-2 themselves. They turn it over, and Boston comes right back 3-on-2, and that's just a bad angled goal. There's no reason that goaltender shouldn't stop that. Again, the 3-on-2, Oates just drops the puck, and then the long shot, he sees it clearly, but he doesn't get his pads together on the play. Comes out nicely to cut down the angle, sees it all the way, but was late getting the pads together, and that goal has tied the game at 3 apiece.
Adam Oates will get an assist on the goal by Don Sweeney. Gives him 108 points, tying him with Doug Gilmour for fourth place, rather for third place in the NHL in scoring. Oates finished third in the NHL last season.
And we talked about odd man rushes earlier, or actually late in that first period. Again, the Flyers with a 3-on-2 going one way. They try and beat someone 1-on-1. And Boston comes right back 3-on-2 to score the goal.
And on that goal with a assist to Mariusz Czerkowski, his first point in the NHL. 9 minutes to go in the second period. The game tied 3-3. Flyers have led twice, Bruins once. Frank Hughes, number 18, going for the puck, is cleared out by Andre South. All the way down. It's the icing on Philadelphia. And Ryan McGill and Brent Hughes were about to have their second bout when the linesman, Brian Murphy, stepped in. They're about to go in center ice. They're going to get penalties nevertheless. 8:43 to go, second period.
One more cheesesteak for your cheesy need. Some Gringo's cheese dumps, please. Once you buy, you just can't stop. So fun. The cheesy taste is so yum. Now more cheesy flavor. The kind of cheese you're gonna savor. So grab yourself some cheesiness. Not the but the pieces and greasiness. So put a can in your hand and check it out. The cheesy taste will knock you out. Gringo's cheese and flavor. The kind of cheese you're gonna savor. Once you pop, you taste that.
It could only come from here. A land forever frozen. Perfectly pure. And the home of ice. Molson Ice. Ice brewed in Canada by North America's oldest brewery. To be a few degrees colder, a few degrees bolder, yet smooth as ice. Molson Ice. From the land where ice was born.
Only Ryan McGill gets a penalty. It's a power play for Boston.
Well, a great play by Brent Hughes. He makes the initial hit on the Flyer player, and then McGill comes in with a big hit on Hughes, and then Hughes just baits him into taking this penalty. McGill throws down his gloves. Hughes skates away. Boston's on the power play.
Second of the game. Goal for one. Adam Oates with Brian Smolinski. And there's a penalty upcoming on the Bruins. That ends the power play. Oates for hooking. Don Koharski makes the call. Adam Oates did not like it. Had a few words for Koharski and then heads to the penalty box. So that's a quickie, but it lengthens the scoreless streak on the power play for Boston. They're now 0 for 30.
It sure does. Oates is arguing the call, and on the play, he's arguing that he didn't get his stick in there, that the defenseman fell on his own, and Koharski was in the far corner. He may have been screened by the net somewhat and may not have a good view of that particular play.
The power play lasted 9 seconds. McGill had gone for roughing at 11:17. Oates for hooking at 11:26. The teams will skate 4 aside. Flyers will get a 9-second man advantage. And Ryan McGill returns. Yves Racine playing kick away from Mariusz Czerkowski. Brindamore across. Rob Zettler. Rod Brindamore with Mikhail Renberg, Rob Zettler, and Yves Racine for Philadelphia. Brian Smolinski with Mariusz Czerkowski for Boston. Now Ryan Frady and Glenn Wesley. Here's Renberg. Smolinski is back. They bump. Play to the side of the net. Iafredi trying to move away from Rod Brindamore. Off the stick of Czerkowski. Played by Dmitry Yushkevich. 7:45 to go, second period. Game tied 3-3. Pushed ahead by Renberg. Don Sweeney takes over for the Bruins.
Sam, when you look past Rod Brindamore, Eric Lindros, and Renberg, this Flyer team up front is not very big, and it really showed. Boston is just able to interfere. Those smaller Flyer players, those forwards, can't get in to do any forecheck.
Ed Donato for Boston. Harvard University product cuts in. He bumps. Back to the puck. Steve Himes. Sweeney plays toward the net. Blocked. Donato looking for the puck. Yushkevich has it. Gets it clear to Mark Recchi. Recchi with FedEx. Dropped it off. Yushkevich trying to play it ahead. It was blocked. Bruins come the other way. Shaw leading Ted Donato. Broken up by Rob Zettler. In. Donato. Back pass to Roberts. Roberts to Donato. He's knocked down by Yushkevich. Coupled with the defensive plays by Yuskevich.
Excellent defensive play. Watched the man all the way, forgot about the puck, and took his man out of the play.
Bruins go back to get it. Teams are now back at full strength. Coach McGill and then Adam Oates came back. Jamie Hushcroft with a shot. Saved by Soderstrom. Rebound. Score! Glenn Murray, who was robbed twice in the first period, finally got one past Tommy Soderstrom, and now Boston has regained the lead. And it's 4-3.
Yeah, and Glenn Murray, with his great size, was able to outfight Kevin Dineen in front of the net. Now Soderstrom makes the first save on the long shot. Oates starts the play by bringing it in. Now we'll see a long shot from Hushcroft, and then Murray is there, and he's actually getting high stick by Kevin Dineen as he's putting it past Soderstrom, and now we're going to see a new goaltender for the Flyers.
Soderstrom comes out with 6:23 remaining in the second period, and Dominic Roussel will go in.
Again, Oates starts the play. Now Hushcroft is going to come up and take the shot. Now in front is Kevin Dineen along with Murray. Dineen's stick up high in the face, and it actually looked like Murray was looking straight up at the ceiling when he took the shot. A great play by the young player from Boston.
A tough day for Tommy Soderstrom. Dominic Roussel replaces him. Roussel's last game was March 27th when he started against Anaheim in a 3-2 overtime loss. Frederick Sabat, the backup goaltender at the time, went in and got the loss. Murray gets the goal as 18th from Oates and Hushcroft at 13:37. 2 assists in the game now for Adam Oates.
Now Murray paid the price for this goal. Again, going to the front. No defenseman around. It's a forward, Dineen. And as his head is going straight up, his wrists are going forward, and he puts it in past Soderstrom.
Soderstrom's had a rough game. He's given up 2 real bad goals, the one by Hines and the one by Don Sweeney. And it's hurt him and hurt his team.
Yeah, some people think that Soderstrom is not intense enough. He's a very laid-back kind of guy. Nothing seems to bother him too much, and some people think that that works to his disadvantage as a goaltender.
This game is indicative of the way the Flyers season has gone. Across the line, Joseph Stumpel puts one on goal that Roussel stops. I think Roussel got off to a great start this season. But he's lost favor as he's been inconsistent. 128 games, most of them early in the year. Rod Brindamore with the puck, dumps in to Joseph Baranek. Baranek cutting in, a whistle behind the play, and a high stick call. The puck was touched with a stick above the shoulder. Stopping play. Brenda Brennan is downstairs. What do you have, Brenda?
Thank you, Sam. You know, a few minutes ago, you saw newcomer Marius Turkowski score his first point as a Boston Bruins, but did you know that he can speak 3 different languages? And that means when you walk into the Boston Bruins locker room these days, you can hear 8 different languages being spoken: French, English, Swedish, Polish, German, Slovak, and Czech, and Russian. Sam and Joe, is 8 enough?
I have trouble with 1.
Brian Sutter says win. That's all he wants. That's all he wants them to do in any language they want.
They speak the universal language, the hockey language. Shoot the puck and score the goal. 4-3, Bruins leading it. As the game is bounced back and forth. Flyers led 1-0. Bruins 2-1. Flyers 3-2. Boston 4-3. Steve Leach hasn't seen much ice time. His shot stopped by Roussel. Coming back from 2 knee injuries. Could be a very valuable man in the playoffs. I want to talk about Glenn Murray for a bit. Early in his career, he's a young player and a good-looking player. It's early to draw comparisons, but I think the Bruins are hoping he's going to evolve to a Cam Neely type player. Well, strong and a good goal scorer.
Yeah, that's a good point, Sam. His nickname, in fact, is Mini Cam. Because of his great size, and he can skate well for a big man, but he's having trouble as a young player really dedicating himself game in and game out, but he's starting to come on.
Reed centers for Boston, and off the boards by Rob DeMaio. For Kevin Dineen. Taken back by Gordy Roberts. 4:20 to go, second period. Adam Oates with 2 assists, now 109 points. Nice feed for Turkowski. He's in, he faked. Couldn't get a shot off, and then it was tipped right by Reed. He put on a lot of moves.
Wow.
The shot off.
How about all that time he had? There were 4 Bruins around the net. None of the Flyers were there.
Oates centering pass deflected. Turkowski has it. The backhander blocked by Recchi. Turkowski had a couple of good chances yesterday. couple of times. Deneen fighting off Gordy Roberts, and he drew a penalty on Roberts. Good effort by Kevin Deneen. 3:45 to go in the second. The Bruins leading 4-3, but the Flyers have a power play when we come back.
Okay, guys, baseball or bass fishing?
Baseball. Bass fishing.
Hey, guys, watch this.
Miller Lite presents professional baseball. Watson calls for a fresh bass. There's the windup and the fish. It's a high fly bass. Brought to you by Miller Lite. If you can combine great taste and less filling, you can combine anything. Here comes a play at the plate. You're out. He dropped the bass. Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this? Whoa.
Bareback seat belts and anti-lock brakes, child safety seats, careful driving, and a set of Michelins.
Realize your potential.
Be a player.
If your pro shop doesn't have the FX irons in stock to fit you, Brand will custom build a set for you, guaranteed.
Call 1-800-FX-CLUBS for details.
With the Flyers trailing by a goal, Gordy Roberts goes off. A couple of minutes for tripping. An outstanding play by Kevin Deneen. You talk about effort. He keeps going to the front of the net, tries to get past Gordy Roberts. Roberts with the stick between the legs pulls him down, and the Flyers are on the power play.
They're third. They're 0 for 2. Deneen has the puck. Back to Yves Racine. Down the boards to Mark Recchi. Now Racine toward the net. Save by Riendo. Brindamore's pass deflected across and played by Brian Smolinski off the boards and all the way down. Bruins have Rod Brindamore, Mark Recchi, and Kevin Deneen up front with Gary Galley and Yves Racine. The Flyers, I should say. Adam Oates with Dave Reed, Al Iafredi, and Glenn Wesley for Boston. It is officially the fourth power play for the Flyers. I forgot the 9-second power play. And Adam Oates was in the penalty box. This is so unfair statistically for a team. 9 seconds. You have enough time for the guy to come out of the penalty box. Riendo with a save. And the puck fired all the way down by Glenn Wesley.
Boy, that was a terrific save by Riendo, because Brindamore, right off the pass from Deneen, let go of the shot quickly, and Riendo was able to move over and make the save.
Coming out in front, saved by Roussel. The scramble is on. The Flyers trying to freeze the puck, and Roussel helps out. Yves Racine, 2:29 remaining in the second period, as play stops. Earlier, we saw that big chance for Marius Tchaikovsky. Take another look at it.
Yeah, again, the Flyers, we talk about their lack of defense. Look at all the time Tchaikovsky has. He keeps handling it, probably overhandles it here before any of the Flyers come back to help out. Dave Reed was there as well, but a good 30, 40 feet from in front of the net, none of the Flyer players were around. That's really just basic mistakes from a defensive standpoint.
21 years old. He signed a 3-year contract worth about $850,000.
Not bad.
Good start for a youngster.
He's actually, we showed the weight there at 185. He weighed in at 200 pounds. He's been working out quite a bit the last couple of years, putting on more weight, and his strength has increased dramatically.
Mark Recchi for the Flyers. 35 seconds to go in the power play. Sweeney tied up Recchi. After the puck is Renberg in the corner. Knipscher trying to move it to Boston. Gary Galley has it. Makes the shot. Now it's Renberg. Pass across to Yuskevich. Checked by Hines. He's deflected it out of the zone. Yuskevich back forward with 2 minutes to go in the second period. Boston leading 4-3.
Sam, that's what makes Boston's penalty killing so effective. They put all the pressure on, and for a team that's been struggling like the Flyers, trying to win a game, a lot of pressure on it. Boston just keeps putting men on the puck. They force you to turn it over, then your home fans get on you as they're doing here.
Here's a 3-on-1 Boston. Stuffle to Roberts. He's in, and a save by Roussel. The net is knocked off. Great save by Dominic Roussel on Gordy Roberts, the least likely offensive player to wind up with a puck on a 3-on-1.
Gordy with with, doesn't move up to there very often. Meanwhile, Adam Oates starts to play to Hines, to Gordy, and Gordy just tries to slip it in the other way, and that's a fine save by Roussel before Yushkevich came back to take Hines into the goalpost. But you imagine a 3-on-1 back the other way, just as you're on the power play.
Ooh, Islanders have come back and tied the Rangers 3-3 late in the second. Chicago now with a 2-0 lead on L.A. Joe Murphy has scored. Fred Hull has scored for St. Louis, putting them on the board. It's 2-1. Tampa Bay and Hartford remains 3-3. Quebec and Buffalo are scoreless. No, Quebec has just scored in the first period.
Well, Quebec has had a difficult season, haven't they, Sam? Remember 2 years ago they had 50 points and then 100 points last year, all that improvement. So many people thinking Quebec was going to be one of the contenders for the Stanley Cup this year, and they just, it's been a difficult season for Pierre Pagé and the rest of those Quebec players.
And shake up the rumor there. A lot of people say Pagé might be out entirely or might be forced to give up the coaching range. Be interesting to see what happens. Right here, 1:10 to go in the second. Boston leading 4-3. Kings are full strength. Coming up on the Dodge Intermission Report, John Saunders will join you from New York. The scores and highlights around the league and a unique look at the young Bruins.
Ready to play in the second period.
1 minute to go here in the second period as the scene moves it to Rod Brindamore. Each team has led twice in the game. 7th inning is wrapped up. Moronic being held, the stick was being held, and he's thrown down by Roberts, and nothing called on the play. Koharski was right there. Took a look at the body slam and said, no.
I think he said, Gordy, you've been in the league 19 years now, or at least in pro hockey 19 years. I'm going to give you a little bit of a break after just calling you on the tripping penalty a few minutes ago.
Yushkevich trying to move away from Brent Hughes, forced back. First a stumble. Renberg moves into the Bruins zone. Roberts is there. Shot gets through. Save Riendo. Rebound, another save. And a trip by Hustroff on Recchi. Hustroff able to move clear of the puck. 5 seconds to go in the period. Jason Bowen back for it. And the period comes to an end. Bruins led 2-1. Now Recchi and Hughes going at it in center ice. That's what Tommy Soderstrom is looking at it. Right now, it's time to go to New York. John Saunders standing by with scores and updates and a look at the young Bruins. John?
All right, Sam, thanks a lot. 4-3, Boston leads, and the Philadelphia Flyers very interested in another game. The New York Islanders, one of the teams they're chasing. For bonus coverage, let's take you out to the Rangers and the Islanders. Gary Thorne and Bill Clement.
Back in on the power play. Hextall holding it up. Uwe Krupp came back for the Islanders. They've got 40 seconds. The Islanders do on their power play. Game is tied at 3. Cleared ahead and dumped in by Vasky. Healy can't stop it. Delgarno on the far side just left it for Ray Ferraro. Ferraro with a goal here in this game. Uwe Krupp back along the boards. Benoit Ho couldn't handle it. And it'll be cleared up and not out. Held in by Ho. Vasky the shot. Deflected wide. Rebound, Nemchinov's got it. 14 left on the power play. Short-handed, Rangers, Wells dropped it. Yes, shot, Hextall a save on Nemchinov.
What a save by Ron Hextall. The Islanders, still on the power play, allowed the Rangers a 3-on-2, and Jay Wells made a terrific play. I mean, he fanned on it a little bit, but when Krupp went to Wells, number 4 for the Islanders, pinched on Wells. Wells got it back to Nemchinov, and Ron Hextall stonewalled him. And you know, Jay Wells can't even shake hands with his right hand. When he was knocked out 3 weeks ago in Vancouver by an elbow from Sean Antosky, he fell and somehow hurt his hand so badly that he is unable still to shake hands. He didn't even realize his hand was hurt until 3 hours after he woke up from the concussion that knocked him out. But even today, Jay Wells can't shake hands with his right hand because it's that sore. He's a warrior. He's still playing.
150.
The New York Islanders and the New York Rangers tied at 3 apiece. The Islanders absolutely need the victory. As of today, they are tied for the final playoff spot with the Florida Panthers. And we'll continue with more after this word from our ABC stations.
Monday, the most dangerous job in the Navy.